Hello ladies, welcome back to my channel, Fashionably Stylish. My name is Patrice, and my goal of this channel is to inspire everyday women to live their best life in style. Okay, so today's video, I'm going to provide you with my everyday makeup routine. It's fairly simple, fairly basic. Even for those that are beginners, I do feel like this is something that you could follow along with me as well. This is usually my everyday makeup routine for work, which is currently at home at the moment. Or if I'm planning to go run errands, then usually this is, you know, my quick go-to routine when I'm trying to get out the door quickly but still look put together. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, let's jump right in. First step, priming the skin. I have oily skin, so priming is absolutely necessary, and usually some type of mattifying primer is what I go for. As of lately, I have been using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer. It is wonderful. Hope you guys can see that. I find that with this primer, I do not have the oiliness later in the day. It really does keep my makeup in place, and it does keep the oil at bay. So let me go ahead and get this on. In some areas of this video, after I provide an introduction of what I'm doing, I may speed up some of the actual application. Okay, so that's the primer. We're gonna let that dry down for a few seconds. So with an everyday makeup routine, of course we want our makeup to stay in place all day, but it's not a routine that I want to spend all day putting on. I don't want it to take forever for me to apply. So I want to try to minimize the number of steps. And so I find the way to minimize the number of steps is to make sure I have a good medium to full coverage foundation. So my favorite lately has been the Estee Lauder. I don't know if you guys can see that, the Estee Lauder. This is the double wear. This is my holy grail as far as foundation. So for today, we're going to use the Estee Lauder double wear. And usually I apply this foundation with a brush, and the reason being is because I want full coverage. That is what I go for. And I like to put it on my hand, which helps me control the amount of product. So I'm just going to go ahead and start putting this on, applying it all over my face. I think we're good with foundation. Again, that was the Estee Lauder double wear. Holy grail. Okay, so moving forward, we're going to conceal or really highlight our under eye. I'm going to go in. Oh, and I didn't mention, I'm using Tarte Shape Tape. And this color is Tan Sand. I don't know if the viewfinder will pick that up, but that's Tan Sand. It's a creamy, very creamy concealer. A little bit goes a long way. A little bit goes a long way. So, as you noticed, I put a little bit under my under eye, but I just did the corners because, again, a little bit goes a long way. So the corners will actually, just that amount in the corner there, it's enough to actually cover my entire under eye. So, a little bit forehead, down the bridge of my nose, and right above my lip. So we're gonna go ahead and blend that out. And you'll notice with the concealer, I take it all the way around the base of my nose, because since I have oily skin, my makeup, if it starts to break, it'll break around my nose. So we're taking it around the base. That helps with that breakage. It actually helps prevent it, I find, because I'm gonna come behind in a few minutes and set it. And so I'm just taking and just blending the concealer out, making sure there are no harsh lines. You see a few like lines, but we're gonna blend that out. So that is definitely another holy grail product. All right, so from there, let me grab, make sure I have it here. We're gonna set with the Lauder Mercier translucent powder. You guys can see that. And this is the newest one. This is the translucent powder in the color Honey. The thing about this translucent powder, it just like melts into the skin. And as you see, I'm applying the translucent powder on top of all the areas that I highlighted or applied the concealer. And we're just gonna just buff it in. So with this step, you should not see this translucent powder just like sitting on top of the concealer. The goal is to really push it into the skin until it like pretty much like just melt into the skin. Like it shouldn't just be like sitting there. And so I have deep smile lines, so I'm going to apply some of this concealer in my smile line, and what that'll do is that just stops my foundation from settling right there. So yeah, and then I tend to go all the way around just to any areas where my foundation likes to settle or crease. I'm just putting let's go ahead and apply our bronzer. And this is the order in which I apply my makeup. I mean, there are many different, you know, many different like sequence wise ways that you can do it, but this is what I found that works for me. So what this is, what I just showed you, is the Fenty bronzer. This is the Mocha Mami. So we're just gonna bring color back to the face. So I'm just taking this along the edge of my face, just a little bit. Like, I mean, a little bit goes a long way. Okay, so at this point we have our foundation, we have our highlight, concealer, we have our setting powder, our translucent setting powder to set the concealer, we have our bronzer to bring color back to the face. That's where we are with that. I am going to, at this point, I want to go ahead and just kind of, I'm just going to do a little light dusting. I didn't really, this is really just to knock off any translucent powder that's just like sitting, because the goal is not to bake. I don't want to bake. I find baking can really dry out certain areas of the skin and make your face look cakey and dry and just not like smooth, seamless, flawless. So I didn't really have anything, but I just wanted to just make sure. Okay, so from this point, I like to dive into brows before I do my eyeshadow. So I'm just taking a spoolie and just brushing a little bit of eyebrows. Just kind of brushing them up, adding some type of shape. Adding what little shape I have to my eyebrows, okay? And if you see like the bronze looking a little crazy, don't worry. We're gonna bring this all together. We're gonna bring it all together. All right, so I'm just grabbing my eyebrow brush. And for eyebrows, I have a slanted brush here. And I'm actually going to use, now this does take a steady hand, it takes a lot of practice. You can also use a pencil, an eyebrow pencil. But I'm going to use the Dipbrow by Anastasia, Beverly Hills. This is Dipbrow in Ebony. So it's that. And I also sometimes use the nynx Professional Microbrow Pencil. This pencil is really good for outlining the brows, if it'll focus here, but outlining the brows, and you can even fill them in, but it is a micro pencil, so it does take a little bit more constant going in for the actual feel of the brows. But the pencil color or shade that I use is Espresso. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to use the pencil today, but again, you can always use a pencil and just go about brows that way. I am going to go ahead, and what I'm doing is I am lining my brows. And look what we're going for here. We're going for we're going for sisters. Brow sisters, not twins. Listen, like my brows, they're never completely identical, but they're close enough without noticing, right? That's the goal. So what I'm doing, after I outline my brow, and a little bit goes a long way with this stuff. Otherwise, if you use too much, that brow will be like crazy strong, like screaming at the people. And so I kind of messed up the tail a little bit, but we'll clean it up with some concealer. And so you notice that when I did the bottom line, my bottom line was a little bit longer than the top line, because I want to take that bottom line and just like, so what I'm doing, let me adjust the camera. I'm taking this bottom line and pushing it up, and it creates like almost these hair-like strokes, but I'm just pushing it up. I have my mirror over here that I'm looking at, but did I just, probably did. That leftover foundation, put it on my shirt. Okay, that's good enough. Again, this is every day. We're gonna bring it together. Okay, but the brows are on and they're filled in. So to highlight and clean up the brows, this is just a flat concealer brush. I am going to use, I like to use a lighter concealer, not a concealer that's the same shade as my skin tone, something a little bit lighter. And I like to use the LA Girl Pro Concealer. This is in Warm Honey. Okay. So we're going to, looks like I lost focus. Okay, there we go. Just a little bit to clean up. And I'm just gonna take this and just carve out the brow. And I kind of messed up my tail a little bit, so let's clean that up. Again, carving, giving it that final shape. And I kind of went a little too far. This is that same pencil. Why I keep calling it a pencil? Brush. Alright, so see, I carved out the brow. Now I'm just going to, where the concealer is, I'm just pushing that down. And then we're gonna go back and blend it out. So, you know, the concealer is not to just sit under the brow. Once you carve, take that brush and pull it down towards the eyelid. Okay? And we'll come back and blend it out. Again, just a little bit. I'm just like, I'm not even squeezing the tube at this point. I'm just taking the brush and going across the applicator to get the product. As you notice, I didn't do concealer across the top of my brow, just because again, this is everyday. This is not full glam. I think that's more for me, that's more of a full glam look, and it's not really necessary for me as far as everyday. That concealer, I mentioned that we will go back and blend, so just blending that out. As you see, it's just nice and smooth there. You shouldn't see any harsh lines. No harsh lines. Okay, so at this point, we are ready for eyeshadow, everyday look. Usually I'll stick to 1 or 2 colors. So to make sure your eyeshadow color like actually sticks to the brow, I find that it's best to go in with some type of maybe a concealer, same color of your skin tone concealer, to have as your eyeshadow base. So I am using, again, this is the LA Girl Pro Concealer, but I'm using Fawn, which is actually the shade that is the closest to my skin tone. And I may just put some, and it's like I have to squeeze really hard because it is almost empty. I like, love it, love it. So back on my hand, just a little bit. I mean, like, that's the little that I'm talking about, okay? So I'm just adding this above my eyelid. And put a little bit too much. Blending. No harsh lines, okay? There should be a seamless transition from your highlight to our quote-unquote eyeshadow base. Seamless transition, okay? For eyeshadow today, I am going in with Juvia's Place. This is the Nubian Royal eyeshadow palette. Looks like that. And it's really a collection of, looks like purple tone shade. I'm just gonna stick with 2 colors. I'm gonna use this one, this bottom left color. I don't even know what color it is. And that brush, I'm gonna switch brushes. It's actually picking up too much product. The top of my eyebrows, starting from the end, working my way inside. Again, this is everyday, so I'm not doing transition shade and all of that. So with this eyeshadow, I am bringing it into, I would say, a little over halfway. A little over halfway. And then I'm just making sure it's blended out. No harsh lines. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. I know it probably feels like this is a long routine. Trust me, it's not long. It's only because I'm walking you through all these steps. I mean, it is just, this is quick and to the point. Okay, I'm going to take this one. I'm going to go with this lighter shade. And we're going to fill this in right in the front. Get a little bit more. These are some beautiful colors. I mean, purple is my favorite color, so I'm a little biased, but okay. So I just brought that color in enough to meet up with the other color. What you ladies think? It's cute, right? Right. I'm going to go back to the other brush I had. And I'm going to blend all the way across at this point. I'm not going over both colors. I'm actually going across the top edge. Just making sure there are no harsh lines. Staying a good distance from the brow, so we can still see our highlight there, but just blending out the shadow. Okay, we are done with eyeshadow. Again, everyday makeup look. So this is the nynx. I say nynx. Some people say NYX, but it's the NYX Professional. This is called, because they have multiple pencils, so let me tell you. Let's see. This is the Slide On, Glide On, Stay On, and definitely a Turn On Waterproof Eyeliner. That's a mouthful, right? But this is in the color Jet Black. And like I said, this is the nynx Professional. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, let me make sure my finger is dry, but I'm just going to hold the corner. Start from the inner corner of my eye, and I'm just going to draw a line all the way across the top. I'm going to, okay, quick. Sometimes I'll do bottom, sometimes not. I could even, this is just an option if you wanted to. I'm just gonna give you an option here. Our eyeshadow, I could have also brought some along the bottom. Okay, just to spruce it up. And this is just along the bottom lash line. Let's go in with our, this is blush. So I am going to use today Sephora. This is the Sephora Colorful Matte Blush, and it's in the color Hey Jealousy. It's cute, cute name. All right. And let me grab. All right, so this is just a small blush brush. So put a little bit in there. Let's give a little smile. Okay, it looked like a lot on camera, but it's really not a lot. And I'm taking this over the apple of my cheeks all the way up a little bit. I like to bring my blush up a little bit, and I'm just going around in circular motions. Again, it looks like we're doing a lot here, but we're gonna set this at the end with a loose, well, it's not a loose powder, with a pressed powder, and it's gonna bring it all together. Okay. All right, so I like to bring the look all together with MAC. This is the Skinfinish in the shade Dark. And what this does is it kind of like kills any like harsh lines that I may have, you know, like this whole like bronzer situation. You know, it's just not looking seamless. This will help kind of just bring it all together. So just a little bit on the brush. Don't forget to bring it down onto your neck, unless you're wearing a white shirt, okay? But you see how it just kind of brought everything together? All right, so now, last couple steps is our mascara. So the reason why I didn't do mascara before I actually did the setting powder is because I didn't want any of the setting powder to cover up my mascara. So I'd rather reserve mascara as one of the last steps. I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills mascara. I actually started using this just a couple months ago, and y'all, it is bomb. It's the Lash Brag Volumizing Mascara, and it's just the color black, but this mascara is clutch. It's a little on the pricey side. It's a little on the pricey side, but if here's an alternative. I like to give drugstore alternatives because I wear drugstore. I really enjoy drugstore makeup too. I really enjoy Maybelline Falsies, so that's another one. Very affordable, but if you want to splurge a little bit, try the Lash Brag. You will not regret it. Okay. If I was doing full glam, instead of, well, my next step would be lashes. But for the most part, every day, I don't do falsies. So let's do lip. Today, I'm gonna do neutral. We're gonna go for neutral. So I'm gonna use this ColourPop, and I'm looking at my viewfinder to make sure you guys can see what I'm seeing, that my focus is actually focusing. I don't know if it caught it, but this is ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade BFF3. So I'm just gonna line my lips as such. Okay. I don't know why that look uneven, but you caught the drift. Okay, and so today I am loving this Kat Von D gloss, and it's a really pigmented gloss. It's actually a lip cream. That would explain why it's so pigmented, but it's in the color Blossom. I don't know if you can see that. And it is Kat Von D. I don't even think the brand is Kat Von D anymore. I think it's now called KVD. But we're gonna apply. How we looking? She cute? All right, so last and final step. This is to keep all of this in place for the day. I am using Urban Decay All Nighter, the best setting spray I have found on the market as of today. The best. And so, okay, ladies, that is it. This is the everyday makeup routine, and it literally takes me under 30 minutes. You know, there are other steps that I could add to take it up to the next level from soft glam to full glam, but this is a look for an everyday look, okay? Thank you again for tuning in to my channel. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also click that notification bell so you won't miss any future uploads. As always, peace and blessings.